Have you ever watched your child count down the days to something so special that it almost becomes more exciting than the day itself? You know the kind of excitement I'm talking about. The kind where every single morning starts with, "Mom, how many more days?" Then it becomes only 5, then only 3, until finally they're so excited they can barely sleep the night before. That's exactly how our daughter Anailyn was this year. She had everything planned, not just the presents, not just the cake, everything. She knew where she wanted to go. She knew what she wanted to eat. She knew exactly what dessert she wanted. She even knew what sucker she wanted from Five Below. If you have ever had a 9-year-old, you know that's pretty much how life works. They've got a plan, and your job as a parent is to do everything you can to make that plan happen. Birthdays have a funny way of reminding us just how quickly time moves. One day you're rocking them to sleep. The next you're standing at a county fair watching them race towards the biggest ride they can find, while you're wondering how they suddenly became so brave. Sometimes I wish I could just slow time down, just for a little while, long enough to remember every laugh, every hug, every excited squeal. Because before we know it, 9 turns into 10, 10 turns into 15. Then somehow, they're adults telling stories about the birthdays they remember growing up. If we're lucky, maybe one of those birthdays is this one. You're listening to We Are The Hansons, where family comes first, memories matter most, and every ordinary moment has the chance to become an extraordinary story. I'm Myia Hanson, and today, I'm taking you along for one very special birthday week. There are birthdays, and then there are birthdays that somehow become memories the entire family talks about for years. This one felt like that. Not because we spent a fortune, not because everything was perfect, but because every little piece of it was filled with love. Those are always the birthdays that stick. Anailyn had literally been counting down the days for weeks. Every morning, "Mom, how much longer?" Every evening, "I can't believe my birthday is almost here." She had her entire celebration mapped out. And honestly, I loved that. Kids dream so big. They don't worry about schedules. They don't think about budgets. They simply imagine the perfect day. And it's beautiful watching that excitement. As parents, Jeremy and I wanted to make that dream come true. Maybe not every tiny detail, but enough that she would always remember turning 9. The fun actually started the day before her birthday. We decided to take Anailyn, Torin, and Maddie to the fair. If you've ever gone to a county fair in the summertime, you already know there's something magical about it. You can smell the food before you even park. The sound of laughter mixes with the music from every ride. Bright lights stretch across the midway. Kids running everywhere. Parents carrying giant stuffed animals they definitely paid too much money to win. Teenagers pretending they aren't scared on rides they absolutely are scared of. There's just something about it. Even as adults, county fairs have a way of making us feel like kids again. The second we walked through those gates, Anailyn's face lit up. She looked around like she'd just stepped into another world. Her excitement was contagious. You couldn't help but smile. She didn't waste a second. She already knew exactly which ride she wanted to conquer first, and off she went. Watching your kid ride rides is funny. They're terrified in line, excited while they're getting buckled in, screaming through the whole ride. Then the second it stops, "Can we do it again?" That pretty much sums up childhood, ride after ride. Anailyn was fearless. She laughed. She screamed. She threw her hands in the air. Every time she'd get off the ride, she'd come running over. "Mom, did you see me?" Of course I did. Parents always see. Sometimes I think our favorite ride is simply watching our kids have fun, because those smiles are worth everything. Torin and Maddie were having just as much fun. The 3 of them bounced from ride to ride like they had endless energy. I wish adults could bottle whatever energy kids have during summer, because after walking around the fair for 3 hours, I I was starting to feel it. Meanwhile, they looked ready to run a marathon. Eventually, we took a little break. And of course, no fair trip is complete without fair food. Now let's be honest. Nobody goes to the fair because they're looking for healthy options. You go because it's one of the few places where eating fried food somehow feels completely acceptable. And Anailyn had already decided exactly what she wanted. A funnel cake, covered in powdered sugar, the kind where the first bite is delicious, and every bite after somehow leaves more powdered sugar on your clothes than in your mouth. By the time she finished, I think half the powdered sugar had ended up on her face. The other half, probably on her shirt. But she didn't care. She was smiling from ear to ear. And honestly, that's exactly how birthdays should be. Messy, fun, carefree. As the evening went on, the lights around the midway became even brighter. The air cooled just enough to make walking around comfortable. Families found places to sit. Kids carried glowing toys. The excitement shifted. Everyone knew what was coming next. The fireworks. There's something special about ending a summer fair with fireworks. For a few minutes, everything slows down. People stop talking. Children stop running. Everyone simply looks up together. As the first burst lit up the sky, I looked over at Anailyn. She wasn't saying a word. She was just smiling, completely captivated. In that moment, I wasn't watching fireworks. I was watching my little girl make a memory. And that's a sight I'll never forget. There's something different about birthday mornings when you're a kid. As adults, birthdays often come with responsibilities. Maybe we still have to work, answer emails, run errands, or squeeze a celebration into an already busy day. But when you're 9 years old, birthday mornings feel magical. I don't think Anailyn slept very much the night before. Every parent knows that feeling. You hear little footsteps down the hallway, a bedroom door opening and closing, whispers to stuffed animals, and just enough movement to know someone is far too excited to fall asleep. Sure enough, the next morning, she was up before anyone else. I don't even remember hearing an alarm. I just remember hearing a little voice that was filled with excitement. "Mom, it's my birthday!" I smiled before I even opened my eyes. There's something about hearing that much joy in your child's voice that instantly puts you in a good mood. Jeremy laughed from the other side of the room. "I don't think we're sleeping anymore," he said. "Nope," I laughed back. And honestly, I wouldn't have wanted to. Birthdays don't come around every day, and when they do, they're worth soaking in. Anailyn came into our room with the biggest smile on her face. She was practically bouncing with excitement. She had waited so long for this day, and now it was finally here. She already knew exactly what she wanted to do first. "Can we go to Five Below?" If you've ever taken kids into Five Below, you know it's one of those stores where they can spend an hour looking at everything, even if they only came in for one thing. And Anailyn wasn't there to browse. She had a mission. For weeks, she had been talking about one specific thing. A giant rock candy sucker. Not just any sucker, that one. It had become part of her birthday plan. So after getting ready, we loaded up and headed to the store. Walking through those doors with kids is always entertaining. Everything catches your attention. One aisle has toys, another has games, then there's candy, plush animals, art supplies, room decorations, electronics. Every aisle somehow becomes their new favorite. Anailyn walked through the store with purpose, but every few minutes she'd stop. "Oh, look at this. Mom, this is so cute." I didn't even know they had these. Jeremy and I just smiled. Watching kids explore a store is almost as fun as shopping ourselves. Eventually, she found it. The famous rock candy sucker she'd been talking about. The smile on her face said it all. Mission accomplished. Of course, no trip to Five Below ends with buying only one thing. She picked out a few other little treasures that caught her eye. Nothing extravagant, just little things that made her happy. That's one thing I love about kids. Sometimes the smallest surprises are the biggest joys. The drive home was full of excited chatter. She talked about the fair, She talked about her scooter wish. She talked about what she wanted for supper. She talked about the cake. She talked about everything. Jeremy and I just listened. Those conversations are priceless. You don't realize in the moment, but one day, those nonstop backseat conversations become memories you'll wish you could hear one more time. As the afternoon rolled around, it was time to start getting supper ready. Now, if you ask most 9-year-olds what they'd like for their birthday meal, you'll probably hear pizza, hamburgers, chicken nuggets, or tacos. Not Anailyn. She wanted shrimp Alfredo. I have to admit, I kinda love that choice. Creamy Alfredo sauce, tender shrimp, warm pasta. It felt a little more grown up. So that's exactly what she got. Birthdays are one of those days where the birthday person gets to choose the menu. No complaints, no negotiations, just whatever makes them happiest. Jeremy helped where he could while I worked in the kitchen. The house slowly filled with that rich, buttery smell that always seems to make everyone wander into the kitchen asking, "How much longer?" It's funny. The smell of dinner has a way of bringing everyone together. One by one, people wandered in. Someone would sneak a shrimp. Someone else would ask if they could taste the sauce. Another would steal a noodle. That's family. If you cook long enough, you eventually learn to make a little extra because somebody is always sampling before dinner. Finally, everything was ready. We all sat down together. There wasn't anything fancy about the table. No expensive decorations. No perfectly coordinated place settings. Just our family, laughing, talking, sharing a meal together. And honestly, that's my favorite kind of birthday dinner. After supper came dessert. Now, this wasn't just any dessert. This was the one she'd requested, an ice cream cake. She had talked about it for days. And when it finally came out with candles glowing, her eyes lit up all over again. Everyone gathered around, the room filled with the familiar birthday song. You know the one. Doesn't matter how many birthdays you've celebrated, hearing everyone sing together never gets old. She closed her eyes, made her wish, and blew out every candle in one breath. We all cheered. I always wonder what kids wish for. Do they wish for toys? Adventures? More birthdays? Or maybe they wish for something completely unexpected. Whatever it was, I hope it comes true. Then came the moment she'd been hoping for. Jeremy and I looked at each other. It was time. We brought out one more gift. She looked a little confused. I thought I opened everything. Jeremy smiled. Not quite. She slowly pulled back the wrapping paper. Then, for a second, she froze. Her eyes got huge. No way! Then came the scream. An electric scooter! She could hardly believe it. She hugged Jeremy. She hugged me. And she hugged us both at the same time. Those hugs, they're worth more than any gift. We also gave her a beautiful birthday bracelet. Something a little more personal. A keepsake. Something that years from now, she can look at and remember what it felt like turning 9. Those little sentimental gifts often become the ones that last the longest. Not because they're expensive, but because they carry memories. Torrin and Maddie had been excited to give her their presents too. Watching siblings exchange gifts is always sweet, sometimes funny, sometimes chaotic, always genuine. They handed Anailyn 2 adorable tiny baby collectibles. She loved them immediately. Then came one more gift, a microphone music sucker. If you've never seen one, imagine combining candy with music. Basically every kid's dream. She thought it was the coolest thing ever. Within minutes, there was music playing while she proudly walked around the house with her new treasures. The laughter echoed through every room. Jeremy looked over at me. I smiled back, without saying a word. We both knew. This had been exactly the kind of birthday we'd hoped for. Simple, joyful, full of love, and the best part? The celebration wasn't even over yet, because Saturday, the rest of the family was coming over. And that's when even more memories were waiting to be made. One of the things I've learned over the years is that some of the very best family memories aren't the ones that cost the most. They aren't the biggest parties. They aren't the ones with rented venues or elaborate decorations. They're the ones where everyone gathers in a home filled with laughter, where the kids run from room to room, where someone is always sneaking a bite before dinner, where conversations overlap because everyone has a story to tell. That's exactly what Saturday felt like. After the excitement of Anailyn's actual birthday, we still had one more celebration planned, a small family get-together. Nothing over the top, just family. And honestly, that's exactly how we like it. Before anyone arrived though, Anailyn and I had something special to do together. We were going to make her birthday cake. Now, I could have gone to the bakery and picked out a beautiful cake. There are some incredibly talented bakers out there who create cakes that look almost too pretty to eat. But there's something different about making one together. It isn't just about the cake, it's about the time. It's about the conversations that happen while you're measuring flour, stirring batter, and trying not to make too much of a mess. Those are the moments that become traditions. So we headed into the kitchen together. Aprons on, hair pulled back, music playing softly in the background. The kitchen instantly became our little workspace. Anailyn was all smiles. She had already decided exactly what kind of cake she wanted. A strawberry confetti cake with strawberry frosting. Bright, colorful, fun, just like her. We gathered everything we needed and spread it across the counter. Bowls, measuring cups, mixing spoons, cake pan, sprinkles, the whole works. If you've ever baked a cake with a 9-year-old, you know that it's equal parts baking and comedy. There are questions about everything. Can I crack the eggs? Can I stir? Can I pour? Can I lick the spoon? The answer to that last question is almost always yes, once we're finished with it. She carefully poured the ingredients into the bowl. Maybe not perfectly. Maybe a little flour ended up on the counter. Okay, maybe a lot of flour ended up on the counter. But that's part of the fun. Before long, there was powdered sugar everywhere, a little cake mix on the floor, a few fingerprints in the frosting, and somehow, we both had batter on our shirts. We looked at each other and started laughing. I could have worried about the mess. Instead, I realized something. The kitchen can be cleaned. The memories can't be recreated. So we kept laughing. Jeremy walked through the kitchen at one point, looked around at the flour explosion, smiled, and just shook his head. I'll come back later, he joked. Probably a smart decision. As the cake baked, the smell started filling the entire house. There's something comforting about the smell of cake in the oven. It feels like home. It feels like a celebration. Every now and then, Anailyn would peek through the oven door. Is it done yet? Not yet. 5 minutes later. Now? Still not yet. I think kids believe staring at something makes it bake faster. When the timer finally went off, she could hardly wait. We carefully took the cake out of the oven and set it on the counter to cool. And then came what might be the hardest part for any child. Waiting. You can't frost a warm cake. Trust me, we've all learned that lesson the hard way. Eventually, it was finally time. We spread the strawberry frosting across the cake together. It wasn't bakery perfect. It had little swirls and uneven edges. The sprinkles weren't perfectly placed. But to me, it was beautiful, because every inch of it had been made with love. Before long, there was another familiar sound, the doorbell. Family started arriving. I don't know about you, but I love that moment. The excitement starts building. Kids rush to the door. The dog barks. Someone always says, "I'll get it." The house begins filling with voices. And suddenly, what felt quiet just minutes before feels alive. The first hugs of the day are always my favorite. There's something about welcoming people into your home that reminds you how blessed you are. Soon enough, more cars pulled into the driveway. One by one, everyone made their way inside. One of the first to arrive was Anailyn's cousin Logan, along with his wife Kate. They came carrying a gift, and not just one, but more. They had clearly spent some time picking out things they knew Anailyn would love. Watching someone put that much thought into making your child feel special is something that touches your heart as a parent. Annalyn's face lit up with every bag they carried through the door. She looked at me with those wide eyes that seemed to say, "Are all those really for me?" "Yes, sweetheart. Today is your day." Logan and Kate have always been thoughtful, and this was no exception. Every gift was open with excitement. Every surprise brought another smile. Every thank you was genuine. That's one thing we've always tried to teach our kids. Be grateful, not just because how much something costs, but because someone thought enough of you to give it. Not long after, 3 very important people walked through the door. Her older brothers, Colin, Tristan, and Keenan. There's something special about seeing siblings together, especially when there's a little bit of an age gap. The older they get, the more you realize that birthdays aren't just exciting for the little ones. They're opportunities for everyone to reconnect. The minute they walked in, the house got louder, more laughter, more teasing, more stories. That's just how brothers are. One minute they're joking with each other, the next minute they're helping their little sister open presents. Then they're all standing around talking like no time has passed at all. Watching them interact with Anailyn made my heart so full. She absolutely adores her older brothers, and you could tell they were just as happy to celebrate with her. They joked with her, they laughed with her, they made her feel important, and that's something she'll remember long after the toys are forgotten. As everyone settled in, conversations naturally started happening all over the house. Some gathered around the table, others found seats in the living room. Kids drifted from room to room. Somebody was always laughing. Someone else was telling a story. It was one of those afternoons where there wasn't a strict schedule. No rushing, no pressure, just enjoying each other's company. Those are the days I treasure most. Because in a world that moves so quickly, having everyone together, even for a few hours, is a gift. And as I looked around the room, watching cousins laugh, watching brothers joke, watching families simply enjoy being together, I realized something. This birthday wasn't really about presents. It wasn't about cake. It wasn't even about the fair. It was about reminding ourselves how incredibly blessed we are to have people who show up, people who make time, people who love one another. That's what family is all about. As everyone settled into the afternoon, there was one thing sitting in the middle of the kitchen table that kept catching everyone's eye: the cake. Not because it was the fanciest cake anyone had ever seen, not because it looked like it belonged on a baking competition, but because every single person in that room knew who had helped make it: Anailyn. Every time someone walked by, she'd smile proudly and say, "I helped make it," and I loved hearing her say those words. There's something special about giving kids ownership over the little things. It's not just mom's cake, it's our cake. She had mixed the batter, she had helped frost it, and she had picked the colors. She had sprinkled the decorations. Every little swirl of frosting told part of the story. It wasn't perfect, but neither is family. And honestly, I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. When it was finally time, we gathered everyone around. Someone dimmed the lights. Someone else found the candles. Before long, those little flames were dancing across the top of the strawberry confetti cake. There's something timeless about this moment. It doesn't matter if you're 5, 9, or 90. A birthday cake with glowing candles has a way of making everyone pause. The room got quiet, just for a second. Then everyone joined together to sing "Happy Birthday to You." If you've ever been part of a family birthday, you know that not everyone sings on key. Some people speed up, some slow down, someone always starts too early, someone laughs halfway through, and somehow, that's exactly what makes it perfect. When the song ended, all eyes were on Anailyn. She took a deep breath, closed her eyes, made another birthday wish, and with one big breath, she blew out every candle. The room erupted in cheer. Jeremy clapped. Her brothers cheered. Logan and Kate smiled. Torin and Maddie celebrated like she'd just won the Olympic medal. For a few moments, our little kitchen felt like the happiest place in the world. Then came the cake. And if you've ever tried serving birthday cake in a house full of family, you already know how it goes. "Can I have the corner piece?" I want extra frosting. I'll take a small piece. 5 minutes later. Can I have another one? I laughed as I cut slice after slice. The strawberry frosting was rich and sweet, and the colorful confetti cake underneath looked just as cheerful as Anailyn had imagined. As everyone enjoyed dessert, conversations filled every corner of our house. Some people talked about work. Others shared stories from the past. The kids were comparing gifts and laughing together. It was one of those afternoons where nobody seemed to be in a hurry, and I appreciated that. Life has a way of making us rush through everything. We're always headed somewhere, always looking at the clock, always thinking about what's next. But birthdays remind us to slow down, to sit at the table a little longer, to laugh a little louder, to stay just a little while more. As I watched Anailyn moving from person to person, thanking everyone for coming and proudly showing off her new gifts, I couldn't help but think back to the day she was born. It honestly feels like yesterday. I still remember holding this tiny little girl in my arms. She fit so perfectly against my chest. She depended on us for everything. And now, she's 9. She has opinions, dreams, goals, a personality that's uniquely hers. She's adventurous, kind-hearted, creative, funny. She can make us laugh with one of her silly comments. And she has a heart that's always looking out for other people. One of the things I admire most about Anailyn is her excitement for life. She doesn't just enjoy things, she embraces them. Whether it's a trip to the fair, a ride on a roller coaster, helping bake a cake, or finding the perfect rock candy sucker, she throws herself into every moment with her whole heart. I hope she never loses that. The world has a way of convincing us to become more serious as we get older, to stop dreaming so big, to stop laughing so loudly, to stop finding joy in the little things. But kids remind us what life is supposed to feel like. Watching her race around the yard with her cousins and siblings, I realized something else. She isn't the only one growing. We are too. Every stage of parenting teaches you something different. When they're babies, you're learning patience. When they're toddlers, you're learning endurance. When they're school-aged, you're learning how to guide them while slowly giving them more independence. And somewhere along the way, you realize they aren't just becoming who they're meant to be. You're becoming the parent you're meant to be. Jeremy and I certainly don't have all the answers. We've made mistakes. We've had moments where we've questioned ourselves. We've had days where we wondered if we were doing enough. But then a day like this comes along. You look around the room. You see your children laughing. You see family gathered together. You hear stories. You see hugs. And you realize, maybe we're doing okay after all. Not because everything is perfect, but because love is present. And love covers a lot. As the afternoon continued, the conversation shifted from birthday gifts to family stories. You know the kind. The stories that somehow get funnier every single time they're told. Someone remembers something from years ago. Someone else adds a detail that nobody remembered. Before you know it, everyone is laughing so hard that tears are running down their faces. Those moments are priceless. No phone can truly capture them. No picture tells the whole story. You just have to be there. That's why I always encourage people to gather when they can. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until life slows down. Because life rarely slows down on its own. Make the time. Invite people over. Share a meal. Bake a cake. Sit around the table. Those are the moments your kids will remember. Not the spotless house. Not the expensive decorations. Not whether everything matched. They'll remember how they felt. And on this day, Anailyn felt deeply loved. As her mom, that's all I could ever hope for. One of the things I love most about having a big family is that food has always been one of the ways we connect. It sounds simple, but some of my favorite memories aren't about fancy restaurants or expensive meals. They're about sitting around the table. They're about passing plates around. They're about someone saying, "Can I get the recipe for this?" They're about kids running back into the kitchen asking if there is any more. Food has a way of bringing people together, and birthdays are no exception. Annalyn's birthday week had so many little pieces that made it special. The fair, the fireworks, the rides, the shrimp Alfredo, the ice cream cake, making her strawberry confetti cake, having family come over. Every single part was connected by one thing: time together. As parents, sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to create the perfect moments for our kids. We want the perfect birthday, the perfect decorations, the perfect pictures, the perfect memories. But the older I get, the more I realize something important. Perfect isn't what kids remember. They remember being loved. They remember who showed up. They remember the laughter. They remember the little traditions that become part of their childhood. For Anailyn, maybe years from now she won't remember every gift she received. Maybe she won't remember exactly what the cake looked like. Maybe she won't remember every detail of the fair, but I hope she remembers the feeling. I hope she remembers looking around and seeing people who loved her. I hope she remembers her brothers being there, her cousin Logan and Kate celebrating her, Torrin and Maddie being excited to give her gifts. I hope she remembers Mom and Dad saying, "We are so happy you were born," because that is what birthdays are really about. Celebrating the person, not just the day. One thing that has become really important to me is creating tradition. Traditions don't have to be complicated. They don't have to cost a lot of money. Sometimes traditions are the simplest things. Making a cake together, going to the fair every summer, taking pictures before everyone leaves, having the same birthday meal every year, a special dessert, a family game, a silly inside joke. Those are the things that become stories. And stories are what hold families together. Years from now, when Anailyn is older, maybe she'll make strawberry confetti cake with her own kids. Maybe she'll tell them about the year she turned 9. Maybe she'll laugh about how excited she was for a rock candy sucker from Five Below. Maybe she'll remember the electric scooter that made her eyes light up. Maybe she'll remember standing outside watching fireworks with her family. And she'll realize those weren't just moments. Those were pieces of her childhood. Since birthdays and family gatherings always seem to revolve around food, I wanted to share one of our favorite easy summer recipes. This is perfect for backyard gatherings, birthday parties, cookouts, or just a simple summer meal. It's an easy summer pasta salad that doesn't require a lot of work, but everyone seems to love it. Easy summer pasta salad. Ingredients are 1 box of rotini pasta, 1 cup cherry tomatoes cut in half, 1 cucumber diced, 1 green pepper chopped, 1 red pepper chopped, 1 small red onion diced, 1 cup sliced black olives, 1 cup shredded mozzarella cheese, 1 cup pepperoni slices cut into small pieces, 1 bottle Italian dressing, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon Italian seasoning, salt and pepper to taste. Directions are: start by cooking your pasta according to the package directions. Once it's cooked, drain it and rinse it with cold water. This helps cool the pasta down and keeps it from getting sticky. Add the pasta to a large bowl. Then add your vegetables, cheese, and any extra topping your family enjoys. Pour the Italian dressing over everything and mix well. Add your seasonings. Give it a good stir. The hardest part? Waiting. For the best flavor, cover it and let it sit in the refrigerator for a few hours before serving. The pasta absorbs all those flavors and it gets even better the next day. The best thing about pasta salad is that you can make it your own. Some people add chicken, some add bacon, some add feta cheese, some add different vegetables. That's the beauty of family recipes. They evolve. They become yours. And honestly, that's how I feel about family traditions too. They change as your family changes. When our kids were little, birthdays looked different. The celebrations were different. The needs were different. Now we're in a season where some of our kids are older, some are younger, and every gathering has a unique mix of personalities and ages. That's one of the beautiful challenges of a blended family. Everyone brings their own story. Everyone brings their own memories. Everyone brings something special. And when we all come together, it creates something bigger than any one person. Looking back at Anailyn's 9th birthday, I think that's what stands out to me the most. Not the presents, not the cake, not even the fair. It's the people. The people who took time out of their busy lives to celebrate a little girl. The people who showed her she matters. The people who made her feel special. Because that's what kids need. They need to know they belong. They need to know they are seen. They need to know they are loved. And on this birthday, Anailyn knew all of those things. As the day started winding down, there were still toys scattered around. There were dishes to wash. There were crumbs on the table. There was probably frosting somewhere it didn't belong. But honestly, I wouldn't trade that mess for anything, because that mess was proof. Proof that people came. Proof that memories were made. Proof that our home was filled with love. And sometimes, the biggest blessings look a lot like a messy kitchen after a beautiful day. As the sun started getting lower that Saturday afternoon, the energy in the house slowly began to change. The excitement was still there. The laughter was still there. The conversations were still happening. But there's always that moment during family gatherings where you realize the day is starting to come to an end. You look around and think, I wish I could just freeze this. Not because it was some huge event. Not because everything went perfectly. But because it was exactly what life is supposed to be about. People you love, a home filled with voices, kids making memories, families sitting together. Those are the moments we chase. Those are the moments we hope our kids carry with them. After everyone had enjoyed cake and spent time together, I watched Anailyn walk around showing everyone her new things. She was so excited. The electric scooter was definitely one of the highlights. She was already imagining all the places she could ride it. The bracelet was special because it was something she could keep. The tiny babies from Torrin and Maddie were already becoming favorites. The microphone music sucker was bringing plenty of laughs. And of course, the rock candy sucker from Five Below was still very important. Sometimes kids have a way of reminding us that joy doesn't have to be complicated. We can spend so much time chasing big things. Bigger houses, bigger vacations, bigger celebrations. But kids find happiness in the simplest things. A candy, a toy, a song, a ride at the fair, a hug from someone they love. Maybe that's something we could all learn from. Later that evening, after everyone had left and the house became quiet again, Jeremy and I sat there reflecting on the day. Parents know that feeling, the quiet after the excitement. The toys are sitting around, the dishes need to be cleaned, the decorations are still up, but your heart is full. We talked about how quickly these years are moving. It feels like yesterday we were celebrating birthdays with little kids running around in diapers. Now we're watching them grow into their own personalities. We're watching them discover what they love. We're watching them become who they're meant to be. And that's one of the hardest and most beautiful parts of parenting. You spend so much time teaching them how to stand. And eventually, you have to step back and watch them walk. Anailyn, if you're listening to this someday when you're older, I want you to know something. Your 9th birthday wasn't special because the things you received. It was special because who was there. You were surrounded by people who love you, people who were excited to celebrate you, people who wanted you to know that your life matters. You have always had such a bright spirit. You bring excitement into ordinary moments. You find adventure where other people might not look. You have a heart that cares deeply. You make people laugh. You ask questions. You dream. And I hope you always keep that part of yourself. Never lose your curiosity. Never stop being excited about little things. Never think that kindness is something small. The world needs people who bring joy. And you have always been one of those people. One of the greatest gifts we can give our children isn't something wrapped in a box. It's memories. It's showing up. It's making time. It's sitting at a table. It's cheering loudly. It's taking pictures. It's telling them over and over, you are loved. Because one day they won't remember every toy. They won't remember every meal. They won't remember every decoration. But they will remember how home felt. They will remember if they felt safe. They will remember if they felt valued. They will remember if they knew they mattered. And I hope every one of our kids knows that. This birthday also reminded me how blessed we are as a family. Families aren't perfect. Every family has challenges. Every family has busy seasons. Every family has moments where schedules don't line up and life feels overwhelming. But when we choose to come together, when we choose to make the effort, when we choose to celebrate each other, that's where the magic happens. That's where relationships grow. That's where memories are made. I think back to that night at the fair, watching Anailyn's face light up during the fireworks. At that moment, she wasn't thinking about tomorrow. She wasn't worried about next year. She was simply enjoying right now. And maybe that's something we all need to remember. Sometimes we're so focused on what's coming next that we forget to appreciate what's happening today. The birthday parties, the family dinners, the random conversations, the kids laughing in the next room, the little moments. Those are the big moments. So as we close out this story about Anailyn turning 9, I just want to say, happy birthday, Anailyn. Thank you for letting us celebrate you. Thank you for reminding us how exciting life can be. Thank you for bringing so much joy into our family. We are so proud of you. We love watching you grow, and we can't wait to see what adventures come next. Thank you for joining us on another episode of We Are The Hansons. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. Sometimes the greatest blessings are found in the simplest moments. A family gathered around a table, a child blowing out birthday candles, a messy kitchen after making memories, a house full of laughter. Those are the moments that matter. If you enjoyed today's episode, share it with someone who loves family stories. And remember, take the pictures, make the memories, spend the time, because someday, those ordinary days become the stories we'll tell forever. I'm Myia Hanson, and this is We Are The Hansons. Until next time, love your people, make the memories, and enjoy the beautiful chaos.